Alrighty guys, it is Quaman here today, and in today's video I am excited to share with you the introduction of a brand new series on this channel called Dragon Ball AI Gone Wrong. So over the last few weeks, myself along with Mike from Laughingstock Media have really taught ourselves how to use AI to create images using Stable Diffusion. And along the way, we've had many good images that have been produced, but also we've had quite some horrible attempts that are so horrible that we think you guys would be extremely entertained to see the graphically disgusting images that have actually been produced by just looking at some images. So without wasting any more time, in today's video I'm going to show you 4 images that generally went bad, but to brighten things up I'm going to show you guys some images that generally went well. So let's get the party started. So the first image that you are going to look at here is actually dealing with a future Gohan punch. Now, this is a very interesting image because the angle of how Gohan's being punched and the level of detail in it just was something that simply could never render a good image. I used multiple different models, I used multiple different renders, and no matter how hard I tried, myself creating a bunch of different versions of this, and even if you ask Mike from Laughingstock Media to get like his samples because he tried this image too, we worked on this one specific image for like an hour combined, and we literally had no good results. There was no image that ended up rendering well. For whatever reason, this picture is cursed, and future Gohan being punched in the face by Android 17 in the History of Trunks special is just simply, in that specific one shot, an image that could just never be produced well. But if you guys are AI aficionados and you can take that original still and turn it into something good, by all means. Next, moving on, we have another interesting image where we have Trunks being choked by Cell. Now, to give you guys context, this is obviously the image of Trunks, or shall we say the original future Trunks, before he got killed and hijacked by Cell, when Cell obviously like choked him in the neck. And obviously this was only shown in the anime adaptation, but the point that we're trying to get at here is this image had a few decent-ish looking renders, but for the most part, this image came out completely terrible. And you can even see one of these images here where Trunks actually grew multiple mouths on it. Like, it was just really bad. And no matter how I changed the prompts, no matter how I tried to, change details, giving information about it, this image just came out bad for the overwhelming majority of pictures. Now, it wasn't as bad as the Future Gohan one where every single image was completely terrible. There were a few decent ones that you're seeing on your screen now, but for the most part, this image came out completely awful. Now we also have the Videl and Chi-Chi standoff. Now, this is actually an image where Chi-Chi was having a standoff with Videl where she was sticking her tongue at her during the pre-Buu arc, I guess you could say, during the Great Saiyaman saga. And for the most part, using multiple images, there were 1 or 2 decent-ish looking ones, but as you can see on your screen here, I didn't have a lot of success trying to render out this Videl and Chi-Chi standoff. This image just came out completely busted, but with more practice in the future, I feel like this is the kind of image that can actually improve and be better more than it's actually worse. Now, we also have another image. Now, this image that you're seeing here is when Krillin was knocked out by Perfect Cell, and to give you guys some context, now, the interesting thing about this image is that I found this image really good to use because it's very simple. Krillin is a very simplistic character, and as you can see, the AI kind of forces Krillin to have a nose, which I had to actually go in and program the AI to like stop giving Krillin a nose because he's actually not supposed to have a nose, but obviously from the AI's perspective it looks at him as a human type character, so it kept giving him a nose over and over again. And this one was kind of weird because I thought a much more simplistic image like this would be easier to render out into better results more than less, but overall it mostly came out pretty terrible, as you can see here. But now we're going to move on to the good part, where we're going to talk about images that generally came out pretty well. And the first that we're going to talk about is Jinzo Ningen Android 18 Juhachigo. And what this image is specifically was what Android 18 was on Kami's lookout during the Buu saga. Now, using multiple different models, you can see that with the exception of her hands and some of the images, most of these models got Android 18 pretty well. Now granted, obviously, the design of her character changes depending on which model and style that you're obviously using, but for the most part, I'd actually say that most of these images actually came out pretty good. And I'm very satisfied with a lot of the Android 18 images that I was able to render with this. And there's a lot more, I'm not going to show you every single one, but generally this came out, for the most part, pretty well. Now, one image that has been causing some problems that I've been trying to, figure out more is to create Goku and Vegeta playing chess. And using a model of Messi and Ronaldo playing chess, and then also seeing a previous artist whose name I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm going to put a link in the description to his channel to give him a shout out, where he actually created a Goku and Vegeta playing chess picture in this very moment. I just used that image briefly to get an idea of what it would be like to look at Goku and Vegeta playing chess. And looking at some of these images, some of them came out fairly well. The only issue is that I wasn't very adept at using this. I'd only been using AI for like 1 or 2 days at this point, and a lot of the hair was off model, and the specific character designs were definitely off, and with retooling and trying this image again in the future, I'm definitely sure I can create better models. But for the most part, the images weren't bad, it's just the details weren't necessarily horrible. So for the most part, I'd say that these images came out good, they just weren't fully accurate to how the characters actually look. And last but not least, for our grand finale, I gotta save the best for last because, we gotta have a little bit of an ego trip here. I am going to show you guys my Quaman icon. So, my Quaman icon was originally commissioned and paid for by Tomislav, and he did a fantastic job. He's worked with multiple other Dragon Ball YouTubers for years. He's done a lot of work for me over the years, and I think he's fantastic. And I wanted to see what would it look like if you were to take the Quaman anime Tomislav type image, but like make it look more human-like if it was trying to transform the Quaman image into a person. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there were very few bad images. This image came out absolutely fantastic, to the point where, I was just blown away by these images and how real they actually look. Like, it really does look like a real black guy in Antarctica with, who's like a martial artist and, is like, has a very stoic look with sunglasses. Like, I was blown away by what I was able to produce with the Quaman images. And overall, for the most part, I'd say most AI images don't always come out the greatest, but as I get better at this, I definitely look forward to improving. So if you guys enjoy this series, let me know in the comment section below. If not, we can discontinue it, but I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good day.